my time, resources, energy, and even my life in that election. So I had to add my backup plan, which was giving me proper information. Now, let me ask you, before results were announced, the United States of America, the embassy, they issued travel advisory to Kisumu. Why Kisumu? They already knew what the results were going to be. Before the results were announced, before the ruling was declared by the Supreme Court, another travel advisory to where? To Kisumu, by the United Nations. Why the hurry? So what does that tell you? If Uhuru wanted Raila to win elections, number one, would Conman be the Chief Justice? No. He would leave it to Owino, because he would tell him, okay, me, I'm leaving. I want to leave you with the Chief Justice. Owino was overqualified. Okay, let Owino be the Chief Justice. But why Conman? What was being planned? Are you seeing these things? Because if I'm not interested, then why should I insist on Conman? I should just leave it to who? To Owino, in case of anything. But suppose there is Conman, then things would be protected again. Then that brings us back to again the long con. So there's a day I called Kibicho. I told Kibicho, the way things are moving, we need to act very fast. So he asked me, Babu, what do we do? I told him, Kibicho, we need to arrest Chebukati immediately for bungling elections. Do you know what Kibicho told me? Babu, wacha vita, wacha vita. Nikasema, what is happening na huyu mtu? Was this part of it? Was this? I'm telling you the truth. This man was supposed to be our person. Yeah. But what is happening? Is wacha vita. Nikamwambia, no, it is you to arrest Chebukati for bungling what? Elections. Then Cherera to announce Baba as what?
As one.
As the winner. You see. Or we go for
a rerun.
A rerun. Because the election is already being bungled. Hey, nikasema yenyewe this was a fake deep state. Aya, let me ask you, Matiang'i. Matiang'i was part of us. At what point did Matiang'i apply for the job of the United Nations, went for an interview, won and was passed, and when election results were announced, he was already called to go and work? How did he know we are going to lose elections? How did he know we are going to lose elections? You see, Muredi, all these things, these people were playing around with Babu. Me, I can tell you for sure. I tried explaining this to so many people. So many people, some of them could not believe because of probably denial. But the truth is we were played in these elections.
Were you played or did you not plan well?
It is not about planning. If we could plan about elections, if we could campaign successfully, that was part of planning. As I told you, elections are about qualitative and quantitative. Qualitative is the campaign process. Quantitative is on the day of elections where we are receiving the results. Because if we talk about agents, do you want to tell me Ruto had agents in all the Nyanza polling stations? Let's be honest. But even if we didn't have agents in Central Province, Central Region, from here to Central, from Nairobi to Central is how many minutes using a chopper? 10, 15 minutes. We could get in military choppers to go and be agents in Central for us. The moment we realized we didn't have agents, it would only take 10, 15 minutes to have agents.
But that then goes back to the question of planning, that you did not plan well, knowing that you wanted the Mount Kenya vote, and you had camped in Mount Kenya so far and so much to leave Mount Kenya as a region and not consider it for agents.
It is not about planning. It is something that was designed to fail.
What Raila has done is, this was Raila's stab at the
presidency. See, Baba was made to believe that he was going to be the president. So, if you're made to believe, and then this is Africa, do you think a sitting president can be defeated by around 200,000 votes only?
It has happened before. It has happened before when Moi wanted Uhuru Kenyatta to be president.
But what was the difference in votes?
It was
millions.
Yes.
Millions.
But either way, look at it this way. This was Raila's fifth stab at the presidency. From every election that you lose or win, you come out with something called experience. Mm-hmm. It is the same as a relationship. Mm-hmm. You come out with experience. You cannot go into another election believing that somebody has told you they will make you president and they will make you president. That means that when you are told you will be made president, you relaxed.
But let me ask you, when an alligator comes from the water and tells you that the crocodile is sick, will you believe it or not? You will believe. So Baba, because of the close relationship with former President Uhuru, he was made to believe that this thing was going to work. But let me tell you again. Let me just tell you again. You see, the issue of the agents were supposed to be in Central. Do you know the reason why agents withdrew from their work in Central? They were agents. But agents were told that they were going to be paid in batches, at different times, in different proportions. In the morning, they were supposed to be sent money. In the afternoon, being sent money. At the time of counting, being sent money. But in the morning, intentionally, money was not being sent. What do you do as an agent? You say that these people have duped you. They were agents. But these agents were not paid. But the person who was paying these agents, I will not name the name, but I know, we all know. It's not even from our side. The person who was supposed to pay the agents was from Uhuru's side. You see? And this person intentionally refused to pay these agents. Intentionally. Then agents decided to withdraw because we are not being paid. We were hired to work, we are not being paid. So this thing was designed. It was designed.
There's a question you're not answering, Mheshimiwa. Knowing the importance of...
But one thing I also must appreciate the current president. He is a sharp person. I'm not supporting him. I will objectively criticize him where necessary. But what he does well, I will also appreciate that he's done it well. But what I must appreciate about Ruto, he met me in Parliament. He asked me, Babu, do you believe that now I'm the president? He asked me. I told him, ulitushinda na akili. Yes. That man is a sharp man. We cannot underrate him.
Ama haiko sawa. Did you just abrogate everything on Uhuru Kenyatta and believe that he will make you president, not making effort for you to be president?
Let me tell you
because
something.
If you are promised the Ministry of Education, you have to fight for it, and that is why you went to 1,700 wards. True or false?
Yes.
So that you can secure that position. So why would Raila be told by somebody else that the central region will be secured for him and he takes it as the gospel truth?
Muredi, you know, no leader rules alone. As a leader, you must give other duties.
Listen to it, yes.
You must give other duties to people. You must delegate duties. And Baba, at his level, he could not go in every part of this country to see whether there are agents or not. So the best thing that he did was to delegate the duties. And he delegated duties in different areas, in different levels. And do you think, again, if I may ask you that question back, do you think Baba, knowing very well that he's supposed to have agents in Central, would go without having agents in Central? He would not, genuinely speaking. So I want to tell you that agents were in Central, but by design, agents were not paid. Then the agents gave up. Okay?
Yes.
They stopped working. So everybody was given a duty. Even in Central Region, there's a person who was heading it. There's a person who was in charge of those agents. In Rift Valley, there's a person who was heading and a person in charge of those agents. In different areas, there were people who were in charge of the agents. But the problem is, these agents were not paid. So the agents left the stations because they knew that they were being duped. So that is what led to the purported call of no agents in Central. But they were there, but not paid. Because they were told they'll be paid in the morning, in the afternoon, and in the evening. So the moment you're not being paid, the moment food is not being brought to you, what do? You can't even drink water as an agent. You leave
so the
station.
frustration was engineered.
Perfectly well. Agents were there, were frustrated, not paid, not given food, not given water, so they had to leave. That is what led to the so-called no agents. But if you asked me,
so are you also absolving the minority whip, Junet Mohammed, from the assertion that he is the one who was in control of agents and did not pay them the money that was supposed to have been given to them?
People are fighting Junet for no reason. I can tell you for the truth of this matter. Do you think the money that was meant for the agents, do you think that money was commensurate to what Junet would have been in Baba's government? Do you think Junet would have left this election just to go so that he forgoes his dream in Baba's government? Probably could have even made more money in Baba's government than that money for the agents. But there's always somebody who must always carry the cross. That is why that cross was put on Junet's back. I can't blame Junet on this. No. And nobody should blame him. Junet was not involved in this issue. Junet wanted Baba genuinely to win. Junet did not even campaign in his own constituency. Junet was campaigning for Baba. It is not because he was assured of winning in his constituency. No. Even in Nyanza, the independent candidates won. So it's not an automatic thing that once you have ODM ticket, you win. No. Olago Oluoch won in Kisumu West with Ford Kenya. Shabir independent. So it's not about that. So Junet had more to lose than to gain when he messed Baba. In quotes. If he could have messed Baba, in quotes.
What was the role of the chief agent, Saitabao?
You see, Saitabao was devolved to his role was devolved to being at Bomas, which was very late. It was devolved to being at Bomas only. But solely he was supposed to be doing all this thing across the nation, of which he was supposed to also delegate, because he could have not done it alone. So we can't also blame him, he did his part. But him, he was devolved to be at Bomas. At Bomas, it was already too late for us. You get it?
Yes.
So these stories that Mara, Junet, Nini, hizo ni stories. Somebody must always take the blame. But me, I went with Junet in these constituencies, campaigning for Baba. That man should be respected. He did his role, he worked. Yes, everybody has a weakness, but we should not solely put that on him.
How does this shape your relationship with Uhuru Kenyatta moving forward in the Azimio One Kenya coalition? Now that you have been quoted enough times, you've not said it in this interview, but you have denoted the possibility of a long con game with somebody who was the President of the Republic of Kenya, the person whom you share a coalition with even after the elections, and a person who's globetrotting in the Kenyan national aeroplane involved in peacekeeping in different parts of Africa.
Now let me also tell you, Muredi. Life is so interesting. And you know, people think that Kenyans are fools.
Yeah.
You know? Just the other day, if Ruto was genuinely fighting with Uhuru, why did he give Uhuru a job? Why was Uhuru using Air Force that is meant for the president of Kenya to go for peacekeeping? What business? Even Rigathi is not being given that jet to use, the private jet to use for the president. But Uhuru was given. Why? And let me tell you, Muredi.
Yes.
If you eat with the devil in the dark, use a long fork. Use a long fork. Mimi story ya Uhuru when it comes to this election, mimi sitaki hata kusikia. Let him have his relationship with Baba. But me as a person who was involved at the center of this campaign, being at the presidential campaign team, I was campaigning from Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. 5 days for Baba, and only 2 days in Embakasi's constituency. That is the sacrifice I was going through. That is the sacrifice I made. Just for somebody to come and I praise somebody for just playing around with my mind. I'm too intelligent, Bwana, to be played around with. Never.
So this whole loss, according to Babu Owino, is on Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta.
This loss can be as a result of two things. One, can be put on Uhuru Kenyatta. Two, maybe Uhuru was genuine, but his people were not genuine. Are you getting it? Maybe he was genuine, but his people were not genuine. But I would ask the question, why would a president be played by the people he has appointed?
If another opportunity would come, how differently would you do it? And does Raila have any other chance?
This election really bruised us. It has left us, it took us back. But one thing I also must appreciate the current president. He is a sharp person. I'm not supporting him. I will objectively criticize him where necessary. But what he does well, I will also appreciate that he's done it well. But what I must appreciate about Ruto, he met me in parliament. He asked me, Babu, do you believe that now I'm the president? He asked me. I told him, ulitushinda na akili. Yes. That man is a sharp man. We cannot underrate him. Therefore, if we are going to 2027, we must reason. You need only the likes of Babu Owinos around you. The people who can think 25 hours in a day. Not 24 hours, 25 hours in a day. That is what I can say. If we are to go for 2027 elections again, which is tomorrow's problem, it is not today's problem. Today's problem is to work for Kenyans and deliver the services that we promised to Kenyans.
Do you think Raila can run again?
Why not? Raila can still run again. Because constitutionally, it allows him to vie. Raila is still fit. Raila is still healthy. Raila can still run again. But that is him to decide.
Is there a possibility that William Ruto might wow you and other sharp-thinking Kenyans into working with him as 2027 approaches?
I think I'm too expensive for Ruto. You see, maybe as a principal, but again, it is tomorrow's problem, but not today's problem, you know? It is tomorrow's problem. Because only me, Babu Owino, one Babu Owino in Azimio, can handle all the Kenya Kwanza members of parliament. Fair and square. You see? But that is tomorrow's problem. But for now, what I want to concentrate on is just working for the people of Embakasi East and making laws which are so good, which are in favor of Kenyan citizens. So working for Embakasi East residents and working for Kenyans. Where the government will wrong, I will talk about it. I will criticize it objectively, moving forward.
If you're given an opportunity to sit down...
Where the government will do better, I will appreciate them for doing better.
If you're given an opportunity to Muigai Kenyatta, president, the fourth president of the Republic of Kenya, what would you tell him?
To be honest. Just to be honest. At times it's good to be honest. I would just tell him to be honest. But I cannot also blame Uhuru for our loss, because we ought to have been intelligent enough to see and to know and to read in between the lines. But probably we did not see So I cannot also blame him 100%.
Are there people, do you believe that people on your side, the likes of Kalonzo Musyoka, Martha Karua, were genuine people?
Very genuine. Kalonzo was very genuine, and he delivered votes. Martha Karua was very genuine and she delivered votes. Baba was very genuine. But even Uhuru coming to us also added us votes, because people in Central also voted for us. People in Northeastern voted for us.
80,000 votes in Mount Kenya.
Just imagine. So they also voted for us. It's only that what we ought to have learned is that 2017, the election was stolen. So it was not about the people voting. It is about people being voted for. That is what we ought to have learned.
But you already said these people frustrated that system that will have allowed you to have been voted for in the long con game.
But you see, this was by design.
Yeah.
This was by design. Because I can give you the resources you need for campaigns. I can equally give you the people. But for every one person I give you, I take two. by my Kamago. or by any other means.
Has Babu Owino, now I'll ask you the same question asked by William Ruto. Has Babu Owino made peace with the fact that William Samoei Arap Ruto is the President of the Republic of Kenya?
Today I will tell you, Muredi, that the day I saw Ruto in Parliament.
This is a video we can use to promo.
Today I will tell you, Muredi, that the day I saw Ruto in Parliament, and he walked, and I can tell you, Muredi, the day I saw Ruto in Parliament, and he asked me a question that, Babu, sasa umeamini mimi ni rais? And I told him, His Excellency, ulitushinda na akili. I want to tell you that it took me a long time to believe, but eventually I believed that Ruto is the president. What I can advise, a word of advice to the president, is that the promises that he made to Kenyans, let him fulfill. These Kenyans are starving, Kenyans are suffering. They just want a solution, nothing else. Please give Kenyans the solutions they need. As Babu Owino, I will play my part. In opposition, I will play my role in opposition and ensure that at least the government is kept in check, that there are checks and balances by the doctrine of the separation of powers, checks and balances, and also work for my people. And what I can say is that either Uhuru was with us or not. If he was with us, then his people were not with us. Or him and his people were not with us. That is what it can just be. The deep kabisa,
you've really gone deep.
Go from handshake to giving birth to BBI inafaa tu rearrange. Una rearrange from handshake.
I know how I will do it, and vile ilianza. Now when you started seeing this red flags, vile wali shake hands, the first person kuikataa was Ruto, but na yeye.
Yes.
Then there were casualties on Uhuru's side.
And then Muridi, let me ask you.
They deal with Ruto.
Yeye alikuwa na agents. Hii story ya Junet could have just been ile ameona an opportunity, yani ile. But see at the main thing.
Because you know when you put it that even if you're foolish, you must look at the bigger picture.
Yes.
And the big
na story niishi. Because he would have made more. So ange waste kitu. After all, is the one who was controlling it. Na alijua the consequences. Alijua yenyewe kitu ikimesa hata kidogo nimeisha. Unaona hiyo? So ange mess. That's why amepewa hiyo whip tena. Because there's something they know that we don't. Mtu mwenye amekumesa utapatia whip.
Hawezi mpatia.
So mimi naona hii story hao watu walicheza to clean, but you know so the moment choppers zinakuja tata tano, kitu inaingia na campaign nayo anaona kila kitu ni sawa. Bwana Museveni said in his book, you cannot chase coins and power at the same time. You lose one.
You lose one.
Na Bwana Ruto anapatia Uhuru ndege yake bwana.
Air Force One. Na wameachia Rigathi aongee maneno ya Uhuru mpaka imtoke.
No, kupiga Uhuru
it's a strategy.
Hata ya kushika makarau. Because Kenyans
kwa sawa?
Kwa sawa.
Umenipatia insight kali. Unaona hata sikuwa naingilia katikati. Juu nimeona hiyo insight ilikuwa true.
No, we were personally as Babu Owino, I'm a seriously disappointed man. We were given targets as members of the presidential campaign team. I was in that presidential campaign team. And I traversed the whole country. In fact, I went to 285 constituencies out of 290 constituencies. I went to over 1,700 wards campaigning for Baba because I knew there was change that was coming. And up to now, my mind is not thinking well. I'm disturbed. At times I just sleep and wake up in the middle of the night asking myself what really happened. But you see, Muredi, we lost an election that was ours. An election that was going to change the lives of Kenyans for better. And this election, we cannot blame Kenya Kwanza. We have to blame ourselves. Within our house, that is where the problem started. Personally, I knew now I would not be sitting in this office, Muredi. Right now, I would be serving Kenyans at a different level as a cabinet secretary, either for interior or education. But look at me now. I promised Embakasi East residents that I was going to give them jobs. Some were going to work in Garissa from Embakasi East. Some were going to work in Kisumu. Some were going to Nyeri. Some were going to remain here in Nairobi. Others were going to Mombasa. And even people from various parts of this country were going to get jobs in my ministry. But now again, look at me. Multiplied by 0 and raised to power 0, which is 0. I'm where I was last time. Then at times I say that I ought not to have even joined that presidential campaign team if I would have known the results. But you see, we made fundamental mistakes, but they were by design. Because losing an election is not very easy, especially when you have the government on your side, because it can only by design. But we lost an election when we lost BBI. If you ask me, all these others were just some additional information about losing the elections. But remember, when BBI was brought, BBI was a very good document. But BBI was a document that was designed to fail. But at what point did BBI fail? BBI failed in courts. The moment we introduced a clause of the office of the ombudsman to oversight the judiciary, we lost it at that moment. But the person who brought it in knew that we would lose it at that moment, because judiciary would not pass something that was going to oversight them. Number 2, the introduction of the 70 extra constituencies that was going to increase the wage bill. The introduction of those constituencies was not well designed. They were supposed to be done purely by IEBC, but we brought it in the document. But you see, when we were passing the BBI in various counties, we passed BBI in so many counties. Over 40 counties passed BBI. Then the National Assembly passed BBI. Then Senate passed BBI. then the problem started in the courts. Why? Because the wings of the courts were to be clipped. But even with that in place, if the president of this nation is the appointing authority, is the one who appoints judges, do you want to tell me if president would have taken his phone and told a judge to pass BBI, would it fail? It would have not failed. But when BBI failed, but before it failed, who were on our side? Literally everybody was supporting us. Every other big political party and a small political party in this nation were all supporting BBI, and they signed. But the moment BBI failed, we started experiencing mass exodus from our side. That is the time our speaker, Wetangula, left. That is the time Honorable Musalia Mudavadi left. That is the time the Speaker of the National Assembly, within that period, left. When I saw the Speaker of the National Assembly leaving, Speaker Justin Muturi, I knew there was a problem. Because Speaker was Uhuru's best friend. Best friend, that I know. But the moment he left, I knew that there's a problem. Do you remember there's a time the now President Ruto refused to greet Speaker Justin Muturi in Parliament? He just passed him because there was a problem between the two. But after that, Justin Muturi joined Ruto. Then after that, Waiguru of all the people, Waiguru has always been perceived to be very close to the former President Uhuru. When she had a problem, the alleged corruption case and the alleged muosho moja at Capitol Hill, she was very close to Babu. Very close to Babu. Then out of nowhere, she just moved towards Ruto's. She went to Ruto's camp. So this tells you something, that people who were very close to President Uhuru, very close, were moving to Ruto's side, which means that there was unwritten law. There was some form of communication. There was some assurance that people were being given. Look at Alfred Mutua. Kalonzo having refused to move, but they needed some bit of Kamba votes, which they got around 100,000, although Kambas voted for Azimio largely. But that tilted the scale, because the 50% plus one was passed by around only 69,000 votes. But look at when Mutua moved towards the last minute. The last minute, which means that there was some form of communication. There's something that these people knew that we did not know. And today I'm speaking about this. Fearing nobody, fearing nothing. But because I was at the center of everything also, I must speak about it. For me to be free and for my mind to be free and for Kenyans to know what I'm thinking. But it requires a sharp brain, a very sharp brain and intellectual to know that there was a game going on. Then, let's fast forward. There was the purported fight between the former president and the current president, Ruto. Then the fight started escalating towards elections. And it was even very nasty, to a point where the Ruto was telling Uhuru, do not kill my children. Where was that imported from? Was it necessary? But these statements were mere statements of puff. In law, they are called misrepresentation, or mere statements of puff, meant to hoodwink Kenyans, to send smoke screens that, we are genuinely fighting. That, whatever we are planning ahead, the end must justify the means. Whatever we are doing, it doesn't matter. We can equally abuse each other. We can do whatever we want to do. But the end must justify the means. But let Kenyans know that we are fighting. Because why would Uhuru and Ruto fight if in 2002 Ruto stood with Uhuru against all odds? 2013, Ruto stood with Uhuru against all odds. 2017, Ruto stood with Uhuru. And they also went to ICC together. So what is it that went wrong between the two? Nothing. After all, you are advised that if somebody fights for you so much, and if you loses, you will always owe the person. But if you win, you will reward the person. So they fought in 2002, they lost together. So which means Uhuru owed Ruto. They fought in 2013 and 2017, they won together. Which means Uhuru had to reward Ruto. What is this thing that Baba did to Uhuru that Uhuru ought to have rewarded him? Nothing. Truth be told. But you see, having known that after the 2017 elections took place, we had to go for handshake. Why? Because the economy was going down. Without peace, without peace, the economy will always go down, because the economy of a state is controlled by the political activities of that state. And the political activities of a state controls the economy of a nation or of a state. But because there were several demonstrations, the economy was down, there are no jobs, people are crying left, right, and center because of hunger. The only best thing that ought to have been done was to go for handshake, so that people can go to their various jobs, children can go to school, people can do businesses. But that is where wisdom came in already. That you, as the president, let me bring Raila close, because we cannot rule without him. So what do? I have to handshake him. The new Ruto, as the deputy president, play opposition within the government. Historically and politically, any other person who was not in line with the president of this nation was either resigning voluntarily or made to resign. But this didn't happen with the then deputy president, who is Ruto. He didn't resign, but he played opposition within the government. Then Baba, having come with a clean heart, he who comes to equity comes with clean hands. That is a maxim. So Baba came with clean hands, but the other parties did not come with clean hands. The hands were hidden, and it reminds me of Adam Smith. Adam Smith said in his book that he wrote about the wealth of nations, the book called Wealth of Nations, Adam Smith said, it is not by the benevolence of the brewer, nor the chef, nor the waiter that you get to eat your dinner, but it is by their interest attached to it. Wealth of nations. So if you look at this, it was completely interest-based. That once I handle Baba, I will rule this country. But because I promised you, zangu kumi zako kumi, we have to fulfill this promise. Because we have the, in quotes, purported tyranny of numbers. So what do? Agree, play opposition, me I'm in government. Of course I'm with Baba, he has agreed, we work together. But what do? I bring in BBI. Because Baba must also explain to his people why he's gone for handshake, what he needs for us, for his people. Then he'll have to tell his people that BBI is coming, and BBI is about inclusivity. And therefore, we are going to form the next government, because even the current government is in support of the BBI. Then the BBI comes, then fails. Then after the BBI fails, then now election campaign starts. But let me still stick with you, in quotes. But when we were campaigning, of course, campaigns were going on smoothly. But if 2017 elections were stolen, and there was a proof by the fact that the Supreme Court nullified the elections, then why did we have to go back to elections with Chebukati as the chairman of IBC? Why did we have to go back with him? We proposed in Parliament to remove Chebukati as members of Parliament. But we were told we will handle Chebukati. The same deep state, in quotes, told us we will handle Chebukati, so stay still. So we said, okay, let's stay still. Of course, they say that there's a quote that says that if you're walking and you don't meet with the devil, know that you're going in the same direction. So indeed, we were going in the same direction. We were going in the same direction
With the devil.
with the devil.
Yes.
You see. So I can tell you that at that moment, we ought to have removed Chebukati. But again, we are being told that now, give us your IBC commissioners, give us 4 against 3. Then we produce 4, knowing very well that 4 are not powerful. The only person who holds powers there is who? The chairman. But chair is theirs. But we are convinced that we should not remove this chairman because he will deliver. Are you getting this? So, now that goes again. We go for elections. Then we were going for elections, even the polls, scientifically, personally, I'm a scientist. I did actuarial science, I'm an actuary.
Yes.
Even got first class honors Muredi. I believe in those polls. I know those polls. There is no any firm that can meddle with its polls because they know that they're going to lose business after that.
Mm-hmm.
Should the results come contrary to what they predicted.
Yes.
Okay? So, all the polls were consistently talking about Baba winning elections. Okay?
Yes.
Then there comes the deep state. On 10th, on 9th, we went for elections. 10th, I talked to Baba. I called Baba, told Baba that I'm seeing we are losing elections. We are losing elections. But because Baba was also told that everything is fine, Baba told me that everything is fine. We will not lose these elections. Just be confident, do not panic. We are winning elections. But through my sources, I had received information that we are going to lose elections on 10th of August. Then after that, we are at Bomas. At Bomas, tactfully, when Ruto's people were losing elections, they were conceding defeat. How fast did they know? They were just trying to send signals that, you know, our people are conceding, therefore you as Baba prepare to concede. They had already known the outcome of these results. But let me ask you, Muredi, in this country, election was done on 9th of August. By midnight, the president, the sitting president must know who is the president. How? Because we stop voting at 6 p.m., counting starts at 6:30, and we are counting 700 ballot papers per polling station. Therefore, by 8 p.m., all 700 ballot papers are counted. And in every polling station, every polling center, first of all, every polling station, there's a policeman. Belongs to the government. Every polling center, there is an NIS person that reports the results to the DCC. DCC reports to the regional commissioner. Regional commissioner. Regional commissioner reports to Kibicho. Kibicho reports to Matiang'i. Matiang'i to president, or Kibicho direct to president. Therefore, by 9 p.m., all results in this nation, because we start by counting the presidential ballot papers. So by midnight, the president, Uhuru Kenyatta, had known who won elections. Therefore, if Raila was defeated in quotes, we could still do something. Honestly, we had enough time. If Raila won, we could still protect his votes. Okay? Then intentionally, Ruto is leading as per our screens in the TVs. Then when Baba took over, when Baba was ahead of Ruto, then screens went off. No streaming of those results. So what was being done at that time? Is it not engineering or doctoring those results?
But you're saying that by 10th, you'd already known that Ruto will win this election. So where is the doctoring coming in?
I was being told, I did not know. I was informed that elections are going to be done to be in favor of Ruto. I have my sources.
So you still believe Raila won this election?
I'm telling you the truth. Raila won elections. I'm telling you the truth.
By how many votes?
Raila won elections. The only problem is that we would not know now because of the doctoring that took place. You see, I cannot say with certainty how many votes, but Raila won elections. Because election is a process. It is a process, both the qualitative and the quantitative. Now, at the time of when we were at Bomas, you remember I used to tell people results even before they get to know of it. The question should be, how did you know this? But I have to protect my sources. But I also had my deep state somewhere that was working for me, because I had invested my time, resources, energy, and even my life in that election. So I had to add my backup plan, which was giving me proper information. Now, let me ask you, before results were announced, the United States of America, the embassy, they issued travel advisory to Kisumu. Why Kisumu? They already knew what the results were going to be. Before the results were announced, before the ruling was declared by the Supreme Court, another travel advisory to where? To Kisumu, by the United Nations. Why the hurry? So what does that tell you? If Uhuru wanted Raila to win elections, number one, would Conman be the Chief Justice? No. He would leave it to Ouko, because he would tell him, okay, me, I'm leaving. I want to leave you with the Chief Justice. Ouko was overqualified. Let Ouko be the Chief Justice. But why Conman? What was being planned? Are you seeing these things? Because if I'm not interested, then why should I insist on Conman? I should just leave it to who? To Ouko, in case of anything. But suppose there is Conman, then things would be protected again. Then that brings us back to again the long con. So there's a day I called Kibicho. I told Kibicho, the way things are moving, we need to act very fast. So he asked me, Babu, what do we do? I told him, Kibicho, we need to arrest Chebukati immediately for bungling elections. Do you know what Kibicho told me? Babu, wacha vita, wacha vita. Nikasema, what is happening na huyu mtu? Was this part? Was this? I'm telling you the truth. This man was supposed to be our person. Yeah. But what is happening? Wacha vita. Nikamwambia, no, it is you to arrest Chebukati for bungling what? Elections. Then Cherera to announce Baba as what? As the winner. You see. Or we go for
a rerun.
A rerun. Because the election is already being bungled. Hey, nikasema yenyewe this was a fake deep state. Aya, let me ask you, Matiang'i. Matiang'i was part of us. At what point did Matiang'i apply for the job of the United Nations, went for an interview, won and was passed, and when election results were announced, he was already called to go and work? How did he know we are going to lose elections? How did he know we are going to lose elections? You see, Muredi, all these things, these people were playing around with Babu. Me, I can tell you for sure. I tried explaining this to so many people. So many people, some of them could not believe because of probably denial. But the truth is we were played in these elections.
Were you played or did you not plan well?
It is not about planning. if we could plan about elections, if we could campaign successfully, that was part of planning. As I told you, elections about qualitative and quantitative. Qualitative is the campaign process. Quantitative is on the day of elections where we are receiving the results. Because if we talk about agents, do you want to tell me Ruto had agents in all the Nyanza polling stations? Let's be honest. But even if we didn't have agents in Central Province, Central Region,